The president's out there trying to sell World War IIIs in Poland, but unfortunately he forgot how to talk. Watch.
The questions we faced were as simple as they were profound. Would we respond, or would we look the other way? Would we be strong, or would we be weak? Would we, all of our allies, would be united or divided?
The guy should not have nuclear weapons. Why is no one saying that? It's crazy. That guy has nuclear weapons? No. That's not allowed. It's like giving a toddler a handgun. Bad idea. Are there no adults in Washington who can see this or going to say something about it? We hope somebody does.
Mr Biden spoke to spectators a day after making a surprise visit to Kiev and pledging further support in the Ukrainian war effort. The US president used the moment in the Polish capital as a rallying cry for Ukraine, NATO and a free world.
Nearly 1 year ago, I spoke at the Royal Castle here in Warsaw, just weeks after Vladimir Putin had unleashed his murderous assault on Ukraine, the largest land war in Europe since World War II had begun. 1 year ago, the world was bracing for the fall of Kyiv. Well, I just come from a visit to Kyiv, and I can report Kyiv stands strong.
Mr Biden spoke alongside the Polish President Andrzej Duda. The US President's words of freedom and solidarity followed a meeting with his opposite number in the Polish capital. Both world leaders cited the wars of Europe's past, promoting ideals of freedom in the face of aggression.
Today, it is a horrible reality of our neighbors. Just because Russia once again wants to become an empire, to implement its ambitions of enslaving other nations, there is no our acceptance to that. We do not, the whole free world does not agree to that.
Busy day for Vladimir Putin after his address to the Federal Assembly yesterday, which was in the room with him in any case, parliamentarians. This was a moment for him to kind of address the nation and show himself as a man of the people. He did this once before last year in March, about a month into his invasion, and it was very much the same scene this time, rallying the country behind him, calling for unity, calling for support for men at the front line, with tens of thousands of cheering Russians brought in to the stadium to cheer him on and wave Russian flags. And it was interesting because outside the stadium you see rows upon rows of buses lined up because very often at these kinds of events, and this has been the case since Soviet times, employees from state companies are bussed in to fill up the numbers, to wave the flags, and then they're bussed back out again. That said, pretty much everybody that we spoke to did believe the sort of patriotic narrative that President Putin puts forward. They did believe that this was the West's fault, that, as one of them said to me, we must get rid of the American yoke. Another older woman said to me, you need to tell your governments to behave themselves. This was pretty much the sort of sense that I got from people at that rally. Of course, you're not going to get many people who aren't patriots turning up, but still, the feeling I have that in this country is that a lot of people do feel that way. And going back back to the meeting that he had just before with China's top diplomat, who's been meeting with top officials here in Russia over the last 24 hours. It is understood that there may be a summit between Xi Jinping, the Chinese leader, and Vladimir Putin over the coming months. There are concerns that China is taking a sort of two-pronged strategy, really, in relation to Ukraine, that it says it's looking for peace, and we expect Xi Jinping to give a speech this coming Friday laying out peace proposals, whereas at the same time the US is concerned that they are considering about supplying lethal aid to Moscow. So we don't know the outcome of those meetings, obviously, but a lot of questions being asked about the Sino-Russian relationship, where it's headed. Vladimir Putin obviously wants to put a lot of emphasis on it because he wants to show that he is not isolated, given Western sanctions. But I think China treads a very fine line, given the fact that economically it doesn't want to incur secondary sanctions by helping Russia militarily, and it is very, very much more intertwined in the global economy than Russia is at this stage.